Today we're talking about plastic containers and growing vegetables. Is it dangerous or is it safe? Answer might surprise you. Hello Canadian gardeners, cold climate gardeners, and gardeners of the extremes. How are you guys doing today? If you are new around here, my name is Ashley. I am a soil scientist with a plant science minor, and on this channel we take that science and we apply it to gardening and plant care. So if you like the sounds of that, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Welcoming committee on my videos is top notch. Everyone is super friendly. So if you guys don't know, my whole MO on this channel is to go through Facebook in particular, Instagram, kind of hashtag plant help, and I get ideas from the crowds there and what they're asking questions about for two reasons. Clearly valid questions that people want answers to, and secondly, I don't like the Facebook forums. I find them to be really mean and condescending. And so I want to give you an alternative that is really positive, where there is no such thing as a stupid question, because I am going to let you guys in on a hint here. There's no stupid questions in gardening or plant care because everyone lives in a different place. So what works for me isn't going to apply to someone somewhere else. That gardening and plant care is more of a dialogue between people where we can share ideas and kind of what works for us and what doesn't work for us. And so make sure you drop your questions below. I answer all of them, and anyone who's being mean in the comment section will have to deal with me. And I'm a redhead, and you know the stories about redheads, so watch it. So this is one of the really highly debated topics online, is whether or not to plant in plastic containers for food you're consuming. So I thought it'd be really cool if we applied the science, of course, but then we talked about the industry of organic producers and how they maintain their certification, whether they use plastic or not. And then lastly, a recommendation, and then also at the end of the video, I'm going to put a screen up. You guys can take a screenshot of that tab to use for your garden. Feel free to print it out, laminate it, whatever you want, so you can carry it with you at the store when you're looking at pots or you're out in the garden thinking of what you'd like to plant. I said this in my other videos before, and I consider the container a part of the soil. So I consider the actual pot that you have your plant in a part of both your soil structure and your soil physics. And there's two reasons for that. It's going to affect the rate of evapotranspiration. It's also going to affect the gas exchange between the atmosphere and the soil pores. A plastic container is going to have less gas exchange, and it's going to have less evaporation from the soil profile. It's really great for plants if you are a light waterer or an infrequent waterer. They are great for that. Or if you have a plant that is taking up a ton of water, a plastic pot is the way to go versus a terracotta. Now, for the science behind plastic containers, I've looked up studies, and there is no set yes or no to them leaching toxins into the soil, let alone them getting into the vegetation and then into the fruit. I thought I would take the stance on this where I would look at the main culprit, which would be BPA, bisphenol A. And the reason for this is because not only is it a hot topic when it comes to buying water bottles, but it also is one of those plastic chemicals that can get leached into the water. And as you know, I talk about bioavailability all the time and how water helps with osmosis and passive transport into the plant. BPA seems like the most logical molecule that would cause issue with getting into a crop that would then be eaten, meaning it has to be in a form that can be taken up to by the plant either passively or actively. For it to be actively taken up from the plant, you're going to have a receptor on the root hair that's going to then bring the nutrient into the root, or passively, it's just going to have to be able to passively go through by diffusion or osmosis. Because BPA is such a large molecule, the chances of it getting into the plant is very low. Not only does it have to go from the soil to the root, but then it has to be taken from the root to the vegetation, and then it has to be able to go from the vegetation to the fruit specifically. So it's gonna be really tough, and that is actually what scientists have found for the most part, is that this is near impossible to actually have happen. Now, when it comes to organic industry standards, for you to be able to maintain your organic registration, to be able to sell fruits and vegetables labeled organic, you'd be blown away what these guys have to go through. But the lack of evidence that plastics leach into the soil and then into the plant has resulted in the organic industry actually being able to still use plastic. So they have plastic irrigation, they have plastic pots. If I could show you my cat right now, you'd die laughing. The organic industry still is using plastic. So they are using plastic pots, they are using irrigation that is plastic, usually to each pot, irrigation piping that is plastic, and then thirdly, organic farmers are actually very notorious for using plastic to manage weeds. So they lay the cover over top of the garden and it will burn off the weed seedlings and the weeds that pop up. It's actually a very effective form of weed control. I actually worked in a research greenhouse where we were growing wheat in a greenhouse. I know that sounds crazy, but we had them in plastic nursery pots and we reused those plastic nursery pots over and over again. And we never had any concerns or worries that it would even affect our research. It wasn't even in the back of our minds. So no, plastic is not detrimental in that sense. Now, my recommendation based on what I read is that there is some risks depending on what the recyclable label says on the bottom of the plastic. You're always going to want to use a food safe plastic. So that's going to be a 1, 2, 4, or 5. This is going to ensure that there is no harmful chemicals that are going to get into the water system that will then be uptaken by the plant. And because food safe containers are specifically meant to withstand both water, heat, and repeated use, these are a safe option. Most pots, when I was looking, are a 5. So keep that in mind. There are the number 5 recycle number, the ones that you can buy in the store that are meant for pots. Number 2 would be the color of the pot. Now, I would stay away from black or dark brown, and there's a number of different reasons for that. I find that they get very hot, and they tend to roast the roots, which then can affect the upper biomass of the plant. So they're just generically not the greatest for planting in, but anything that's green or brown or a lighter color, it's going to absorb less light, and then therefore it's going to take longer to deteriorate over time. The third recommendation would be what you use inside the pot. Now, a peat-based soil or a soil that's high in organic material is going to act like more of a filter than a loamy clay soil or a loamy soil, for example. So if you use a peat or an organic soil, it's going to act like a filter. What these soils do is they actually naturally absorb toxins into their profile due to their cation exchange capacity. So one of my favorite soils that I use every year repeatedly is Sunshine Mix 4. I know I talk about them a lot, but they are a great brand and they are definitely an option. They have both their potting mix and they also have just peat moss that you can utilize. So that is my recommendation, is Sunshine Mix 4. That is going to act like a filter or a buffer between the root and the actual plastic. Number 4, and this is a whole video unto itself, is crop type. So if you've ever heard of the concept of phytoremediation, like I said, totally different video. Thumbs up if you want to actually hear about that, about this concept. But there is research that has come out that there are certain crops or certain plants that are hyperaccumulators or bioaccumulators that actually pull certain toxins out of the soil and bring it up into the vegetation. There's two reasons for this. First being they accidentally thought it was a nutrient, and the second being they're actually trying to make it so that they're toxic to predators around them. So this is another thing I would watch out for, is the type of crop you put in. My biggest recommendation would be to try to stay away from brassica species, things like cabbage or Brussels sprouts, also sunflowers. These guys are hyperaccumulators. They really grab at whatever they can find in the profile, and they are known to grab onto toxins. But this doesn't just go for plastic containers. This also goes for your garden outdoors. If you don't know where your soil is from, or you don't know the history of your yard, I urge you to steer away from hyperaccumulating crops. Just because it can be dangerous. Say you're across the street from a gas station or near a gas station, or used to be a gas station in your area, that is something that you're going to want to navigate accordingly. So thumbs up if you want a video on that. I've been thinking of doing it. I'm just not sure if it's something that you guys are interested in or not. But yeah. Number 5, honestly, personally, I would be more scared of the new fabric pots that have the fabric dyes and then also treated wood. Those ones kind of creep me out a lot more than something like plastic. And just, again, it has to do with the bioavailability and what's absorbed into the water and what's not absorbed into the water. I just think to myself that wood and fabric are very easily biodegradable compared to plastic. So it would make sense that that would end up in your profile and therefore then your plant. Those are ones that I would, be more cautious about over plastic. So there you guys go. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you use plastic containers for your vegetables. I know I use them for tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, and my herbs every year, and I'm still standing. I mean, I have red hair. That could have been the cause, but other than that, I'm okay. But yeah, so let me know in the comments below if you've used plastic or if you steer away from it because you are a little bit scared of using plastic in the garden. I can understand if you're from somewhere warmer where you'd be more hesitant. Where I am, I mean, my plastic containers get used for 3 months of the year. That is all. And then they get put into storage for the rest of the year. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Oh hey there, are you still watching? Make sure to hit that subscribe button for some more awesome